and Mrs. Regis, Bruce and Sharon, all of the other staff members of the Street 919 FM. Mother Tuna Puna, good morning to you, Uman Oga. Mano, morning, Angie. Can't miss that one. Right, I think I have two birthday greetings this morning. One going out to Miss Joycelyn Small White. Happy birthday to you if you're listening, and also to Miss Jamira Lewis. Good morning to you as well, and to your grandmother Annette Lewis out there in Laventille. So trust that you will have a very enjoyable birthday. So let's get straight into it. So Thursday, the Prime Minister would have had well, everybody knows he had a address to the nation, and prior to the address, there was a lot of speculation going on as to what he was coming to talk about. And of course, there were a lot of people who were expecting to hear those words as of midnight tonight. And not having heard those words as of midnight tonight in the Prime Minister's address left a lot of people very, very disappointed. There were some people who were disappointed because they are of the view that we need to have some more restrictions, that the government needs to reinstate some restrictions to treat with the untenable COVID numbers, both in terms of deaths and the new daily reported infections. And also on the flip side, there were some people who were hoping he would say those words, lock down the country again, if only to give them a talking point. And of course, I'm referencing here all of the anti-Rowley, members of the anti-Rowley, anti-PNM movement, right, who want to say, well, he mashed up the economy and killed the country and all of this nonsense. And much to their chagrin and their disappointment, he did not say that. And there are those who felt that the entire address was a waste of their time, that they could have been doing better things, cleaning up dog mess. I've seen these things on Facebook. The level of disrespect that is meted out to this Prime Minister, I think, is unprecedented. But we know the factors, or the factions from where it comes, so it's not surprising, right? But the Prime Minister would have seen the need to give a preamble to reinforce why the government has taken certain courses of action, to lay the foundation for certain courses of action that may come to pass in the future if things don't change, if we don't see a turnaround. So, of course, highlighting the past, what would have happened in the past, how we've gotten to where we are now, and why certain decisions have been taken. Of course, the Prime Minister's announcement with respect to a possible hybrid carnival next year did not meet with the approval of some people who feel that it is reckless, who feel that it is unwarranted at this time and could further contribute to the spread. But some of these same people asking to open the beach and reopen the rivers, right? But a carnival where we can have it in a controlled environment, where we can have events specifically for vaccinated persons, they have an issue with that. And we will see how that issue will unfold. But I wanted to read an article this morning because I saw, another one of the members of the Men and Women of Letters Club, Martin Daly, in his Express article this morning. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to highlight one paragraph in his article, which is, again, critical of the Prime Minister's address on Thursday night. Mr. Daly says, even before Thursday nights, here how he characterizes the Prime Minister's address: rambling and unhelpful address to the nation. While the Delta is killing us in droves, this dictum came to mind because murders have returned to rampant levels. This is our eminent senior counsel, right? Martin Daly, who the Prime Minister has referred to on a number of occasions, indirectly, in less than flattering terms, and I don't know if perhaps that is why Mr. Daly continues seemingly to wage war on the Prime Minister and his government in his weekly articles. And this week's article is no different, describing again the Prime Minister's address as rambling and unhelpful address. Well, I would want to ask Mr. Daly, what has he done in any of his weekly articles to help the situation? If I were to describe his weekly articles as ramblings and unhelpful articles, how would he like that? Because it's nothing of substance, really, just to criticize. He continues to, surprisingly, while the UNC seems to have, eased back a little bit on this whole issue of the appointment of a police commissioner, Mr. Daly continues to prosecute that case, as he's doing in today's article. Again, So I don't know if it is that he's picking up the mantle where the UNC has left, or perhaps he feel that they slack off a little too much, and therefore he needs to keep the fire going, right? But I find it to be very distasteful on the part of a man of his ilk and somebody in his position to describe the Prime Minister's address as rambling and an unhelpful address to the nation. Unhelpful address. So the Prime Minister is appealing to people to get vaccinated. He's appealing to people to be a little more responsible, to understand that the situation is dire, that our parallel healthcare system is under strain, that our frontline workers, the doctors and the nurses in particular, are overwhelmed. And not just from a physical standpoint in terms of them having to work long hours. They are emotionally overwhelmed because some of them have expressed on more than one occasion. They established this sort of relationship, this emotional connection with some of their patients. And it hurts them very much to go home after the end of one shift and come back another day to find that a patient who they were close with and who they had grown accustomed to has now passed on. And we don't understand that emotional impact that it may have. But and to have to go through this on numerous occasions, because obviously if you're seeing 20-something to one day 31 people die, it means that these doctors and these nurses, these healthcare professionals have to be suffering that over and over and over. How many patients would one doctor have grown emotionally attached to only to come back from another shift and find that this person has died? Are we sparing any thoughts for these people and what the long-term effects is going to be on them from an emotional standpoint? Post-traumatic stress disorder? That how many times they're going to go home and tell their family that, I lost another patient today, and that this person was doing so well, and I thought this person was going to survive. And so the Prime Minister was seeking to reinforce the need for us to be more responsible, that it is not a government alone issue, that this is a whole of country issue, and each and every one of us have a responsibility, a personal responsibility to do what is required to protect ourselves. Even if you choose not to take the vaccine, there are other things that you can do to prevent yourself from getting infected. And if it is that you are infected, instead of staying home and having the doctor come to treat you and wait until it gets to a dire situation, to a dire circumstance that you have to call the ambulance and you're almost to die, and then you end up in the hospital and expecting miracles. So that was what the Prime Minister was doing. But Martin Daly says that was rambling and unhelpful. That is his characterization of the Prime Minister's address, right? The Prime Minister reinforcing, telling people, okay, this is what we hope to do. If things go this way, this is what we hope to do. Because people have been calling, trying to find out what is happening with respect to a possible Carnival 2022, where a lot of people earn their livelihood. A significant portion of their livelihood for the year is earned in that 2-week period. And there are people who want to know what's happening. Is there any possibility? Can I put aside funds now? Should I start planning? So at least I could have something to carry me through to 2022. But Martin Daly calls it unhelpful and rambling, right? I want to read an article that came out in last week's Express from another columnist, another weekly columnist, who to my mind makes a little more sense than this eminent senior counsel, right? And it just goes to show that having titles and letters after your name doesn't necessarily make you bright, okay? And instead of Martin Daly using his platform to assist the government in this situation, instead of him using his platform to try and reinforce, and encourage people who might be minded to read his columns every week and who enjoy reading him bashing the government, try and use your platform for some good now, instead of the foolishness that you're putting on. But anyway, let me read here from this article from last week from Rafiq Shah. It's a rare thing to see somebody come to the defense, or of his stature, come to the defense of the Prime Minister, who has been under siege practically from day one. Some of you may have seen this article. It usually appears below the other government heater, the other Rowley heater columnist, Rat Maharaj, on Sunday. Rafiq Shah's article usually appears under here. So if you are minded to read the trash, the garbage that Ralph Maharaj reads, you can read Rafiq Shah after to cleanse your palate from that nonsense. And the title of Rafiq Shah's article is Afterward on Atlantic LNG Train 1. He says, maybe the headline of my column today should read instead, thanks PM for standing up for TNT against immense odds. which would surely incur the ire of a large number of citizens of this country who, I am convinced, bow their heads in hypocritical reverence every night when they communicate with their gods, beseeching her to cast failure after failure on the incumbent PNM government. Their bitter hatred for Dr. Keith Rowley is all that matters. It's more than enough reason to create chaos, confusion, and collapse, blame for which can be heaped on the said Rowley. So when the Prime Minister came 2 weeks ago to announce the death of Atlantic LNG's Train 1, a pioneering plant that brought us some fame, it was the first of its kind in South America and the Caribbean, and the second in the hemisphere, and a significant fortune like tens of billions of dollars since it started operations in 1999. Rather than mourn its passing, there were many who cheered, celebrated, and celebrated its demise. Yeah, these are patriots, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, right? I should note here that way back, even before a decision was made by the Patrick Manning government, I believe, I was very cautious about the venture. The citizenry was not familiar with the whole LNG business, and I thought we should not plunge into a relatively new natural gas venture that could end up failing. Also, when I studied the countries that were our competitors, Qatar, Russia, Iran, Australia, and several others, they had multiple times our average of 13 trillion cubic feet in proven reserves. Qatar in particular was racing to expand its LNG production that aimed for the same markets that we did, the US, Japan, China, Korea, and some European countries. But then, I was never inclined to getting involved in business, which meant taking risks. In fact, my go-to expert on oil and gas is Gregory Maguire. And during the slowdown of Dr. Rowley's insistence, or rather the showdown over Dr. Rowley's insistence that Train 1 continue to be an integral part of our natural gas, with a battery of heavyweights in the media, my colleagues, having taken firm positions against the Prime Ministers, they argued that we did not have the gas. Gregory said otherwise. He saw the Prime Minister as pursuing the country's best interests by fighting with everything at his disposal to keep the train operational. And when the Prime Minister finally abandoned his crusade and made media colleagues, and my media colleagues rather, beat up on him for throwing away US 50 million after a lost cause, Gregory lectured them on risks in all business ventures, but never more than in the energy industries. I shall add that I agree with Gregory over the Prime Minister's intervention. You see, multinational corporations the size of BP, Shell, ExxonMobil, etc., are virtual states within states, at all times seeking their interests, not the client countries in which they operate, as good and charitable corporate citizens as they promote themselves to be. One cannot fault them for taking such positions. They have shareholders to account to. They have to be mindful of the local politics and wider geopolitics of the regions in which they operate. And since what we are debating relates to the hydrocarbon giants who are under the global environmental and climate change microscope, the BPs, the Shells, there are millions more reasons why we, and here I talk about TNT, must also jealously, with every fiber in our patriotic frame, seek and defend our national interests. The Prime Minister is no fool. He did not forget that BP said in 2019 that given the failure of a main gas production well, they could not find any new gas for Train 1. But it isn't strange that an MNC like multinational corporation like BP, having invested heavily in the train a mere 20 years ago and having reaped rich rewards, would simply pull out of it. Something is just not reading right here. Wouldn't they have alternative resources to harness to fill that billion-dollar void? Which is why I support the Prime Minister pestering BP, harassing them until hopefully they get fed up with him and run a little something. At 300 cubic feet per day, that's lying idle. That's pocket change for them, but jobs and dollars for us. A few final thoughts. I trust the naysayers who are not happy with the Shell Law and Manatee agreement that Energy Minister Stuart Young hammered out last week. I know many of them dislike Young more than they dislike Rowley. I think the young man has potential and he has the country's best interests at heart. I trust that he has alerted the Venezuelans to our interest in the 7 trillion cubic feet of gas that they have, for which they have no use over the next decade or so, and which they can sell us at wellhead prices. And maybe we both get a little something and maybe a bigger something. We are too long in oil and gas and energy. We are too long in oil, gas, and energy industries for anyone to ride roughshod over us, including Venezuela. So that was Rafiq Shah. As I said, it is not often that we see columnists of his ilk writing in defense of the Prime Minister. But to his own credit, Rafiq Shah has done it more often than not. Same cannot be said for the likes of his colleagues, Ralph Maraj and Martin Daly. Right? Now, I mean, the Prime Minister continues to try and do his best. But for some people, no matter how hard he tries, his best will never, ever be good enough for them. Why? Well, of course, we know. Because their political stocks depend on him failing. So this is why some people are hitching their wagon to what's happening in Tobago and the upcoming DHA election. So while some people are not on the ground in Tobago campaigning with the PDP, they're campaigning from Trinidad for the PDP. Because what happens in Trinidad also impacts what happens in Tobago. And so there are certain issues that are currently taking place primarily in Trinidad that would pique the interest of people in Tobago as well. Because again, for the life of me, people continue to talk about the PDP this and the PDP that and the PNM and do nothing and the PNM and the PNM. And you cannot tell me in good conscience any good reason why you should vote for the PDP. You cannot tell me in good conscience how you expect the PDP to perform better than the PNM. If the best you could tell me is that the PDP could do no worse than the PNM, then something had to be wrong with you. Something has to be wrong with you. So all of this lambasting of the Prime Minister and so on, let's put it into context, right? Again, I cry shame on Martin Daly, because instead of Mr. Daly writing a column to try and encourage people to work with the authorities, to be more responsible, he sees it fit to continue this campaign, perhaps on behalf of Gary Griffith. Speaking of Gary Griffith, I saw he put out a very strongly worded response to the latest announcement with respect to the changes that have been made to the law regarding how a police commissioner is to be appointed. And Mr. Griffith certainly is not pleased. And he didn't hesitate to wade in on the Prime Minister. He didn't call the Prime Minister by name, but he referenced him in his professional capacity as PM. I don't know how many of you have seen Mr. Griffith's release, assuming that it's his, and well, his name is attached to it. But you see, I continue to make the point. Gary Griffith continues to shoot himself in the foot, and his gun of choice is his mouth. Right? That's his gun of choice. Every time he opens his mouth to speak on this matter, he shoots himself in the foot. And I think by now it's clear to see that he's running out of feet. With all them bullets that he has fired at his feet, he's running out of feet. So I don't know what else he's going to shoot. Probably shoot himself in the head and put an end to it. Hush your mouth. Even if it is that you're probably on the side of you now with respect to the rise in murders since you've demitted office, could probably, if it is that the government was inclined not to put you back, could probably argue a case for you to say, well, you know, even on the face of it, we can't deny the fact that while Mr. Griffith was Commissioner of Police, we did see a decline in murders. He did have some, he had the criminals on the run. Criminals had a certain level of respect for him that they perhaps don't have now for the person who is leading the charge in respect of the police service. So maybe, even if we might have issues with him on X, Y, and Z, perhaps. But when you decide to go after the Prime Minister and throw shade, you really expect the Prime Minister to support you? The very thing that it has now been placed in the public domain, the reason for which he wrote the Police Service Commission, right, to complain about you, the very thing that caused him to lose confidence in you as Commissioner of Police was your blasted mouth. Hush your mouth. But apparently he just don't learn, right? You read the letter, the contents of the letter, it is because of things that you said. You can't, for some reason, this man just cannot seem to differentiate between Citizen Gary and Commissioner Gary. So the lines are blurred. So in situations where Commissioner Gary should be speaking, you have Citizen Gary speaking. And it is not enough that the Prime Minister would have lost confidence in you because, again, of things that you said based on a certain situation. You yourself said that was water under the bridge. The matter was dealt with. It was fixed. Okay. Hush your bloody mouth. Now, if it is that the Prime Minister, assuming that what I have seen is in fact from Gary Griffith. I could tell you, if I'm the Prime Minister and I read that, if I was rethinking my position, or if I was giving serious consideration to having Mr. Griffith reappointed as Commissioner of Police, that would have been all out of the window for me. So again, all who want to say that, that the Prime Minister and them, and the reason why the government never Gary Griffith is because of the AV drilling investigation and this investigation and that investigation. Really? Really? You all need to get a copy of I'm sorry, I don't have it here. I didn't save it. But I'll try to see if I could get it so that when we come back after the 12 o'clock hour, I'll probably read it for you. But I referenced that if only to show that attacks against the PM continues to come from several different quarters. And in my view, totally unwarranted. But I just found it striking that a so-called senior counsel, well, not so-called, he is senior counsel, rightly deserved, because he has a reputation in the court. But as a responsible citizen, Martin Daly is no ordinary citizen, right? People respect his opinion on a lot of matters. And I am just saying that for you to describe the Prime Minister's address as rambling, rather than you makes no reference to the substance of anything that the Prime Minister would have said in that speech. Nothing at all. The fact that the Prime Minister sought to reinforce what's happening globally, that the reality is in Trinidad and Tobago, it is not singular to us, but that we are seeing it happening in other countries, and we are seeing the deadly impact that it has had. Notwithstanding that fact, we still have people who say, November 30th, they go into the Queen's Park Savannah, right? And they go in and have this massive rally. I see one member of the UNC Circus, one of the clowns from the UNC Circus, I think his name is Victor Roberts, dragging a coffin from Point Fortin to Port of Spain, right? And so the police stopped him a couple of days ago. And of course, the supporters of the UNC Circus saying that is the PNM send the police. And everything now is for the PNM to try and enforce the dictatorial rule by sending the police. What the PNM want to do with that? The police doing their work. This man dragging a coffin through the streets and talking a pack of nonsense, claiming that, it is to represent the number of deaths that had happened before COVID. You really feel we came down on the last shower rain? We born last week? Is that the right-thinking citizens of this country need to walk around with ID and the birth paper to show these UNC fools every time they talk this nonsense that we weren't born last week? The last man that decided to drag coffin all over the country, he ended up in the parliament. So I don't know if it is that Mr. Roberts is trying to see if it is that he could achieve the same thing. Right? Remember the Keith Noel 136 or 137 committee? And how Mr. Mann ended up in the parliament as a government minister? Said it was not political. And then you went from dragging coffin, playing Lagahu, join party, and then you end up in the cabinet. Been there, done that, tried and tested. Okay, we'll see. If it is that what is taking place in Tobago, and I know that is what the UNC is hoping for, that if it is that the PDP wins on December 6th, that would translate into victory in 2025 for the general election. And therefore that is 2 seats that they could count under their column, because we know Watson Duke is not going to join with the PNM if it comes to that, to form a government. The PNM's position has always been, and will remain, we win alone, we lose alone, we stand alone. There will be no accommodation. And therefore, if it is Watson Duke fancies himself kingmaker, right, he will decide if he wins those 2 seats, and depending on how things go in Trinidad, who will be the next prime minister. And certainly with a bargaining chip like that, Mr. Duke is going to want to come out smiling. Either he becomes prime minister, or what he gets has to be significant, right? But you're not just going to, because this certainly is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, God forbid, that the people of Tobago play fast and loose with their vote, both on December 6th and come general election 2025, right? But as I would say, the only good thing that I could possibly see coming out of a PDP victory on December 6th is that the people of Tobago would have 4 years to see what leadership under Watson Duke would be like. They have 4 years to realize the disappointment that would bring, and therefore it would probably put some sense into their heads come 2025. But either way it goes, even if the PNM is successful on December 6th, they have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do to recapture the minds and the hearts and the loyalty of those persons who, at one point in time, were strong supporters of the PNM and have now sought to switch their allegiance to the PDP. Albeit, for the most part, we in Trinidad can't understand the sense behind it. But hey, if that's what people say, if that what they want, so be it. In fact, I was supposed to have an interview this morning. I haven't had any updates on it, but we'll see how that goes in the coming week. Hopefully, I'll have an opportunity to speak with somebody from the PDP with the series of interviews that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks with the PNM candidates. So it would be nice to hear from somebody from the PDP because I have a lot of questions that I would want to ask, right? But again, I come back to the issue, and I'm using this opportunity, unlike Mr. Daly, who seems not to know how to use his platform. You see, there are a lot of people who are opposed to the PNM, who are opposed to Keith Rowley, who just don't get it. I would not have been able to listen to the Prime Minister's address in its entirety because I had to go to the airport to pick someone up. But from what the part that I was able to hear, and I'm hearing people saying, this stultishness about, there are some things that people could have been sent in an email, tongue-in-cheek kind of thing again to say that the Prime Minister wasted their time, that they didn't need the history lesson and he didn't need to go back and rehash. There is need for that, if only because the Prime Minister recognizes, and as Rafiq Shah mentioned in the article, the Prime Minister is no fool, right? The Prime Minister is an experienced politician, and therefore he would have seen the sense to rehash. And the sense in it lies in the fact that there are lots of people in this country, in Trinidad, who are of the view that the government is lying with respect to the COVID numbers, that they are inflating the numbers so as to frighten people, the unvaccinated, to go and get vaccinated, right? And therefore, because these people believe that the situation is not as serious as the government and the health officials are making it out to be, that they're just lying, that the number of deaths is not really the number of deaths, and the number of infected persons is not really the number of infected persons. They're just saying that, frighten the unvaccinated to go and get vaccinated. They're not taking it seriously. So, some of them not wearing their masks. Some of them continue to engage in all manner of activities that could get them infected, going to the underground parties and the like, doing all of these things, flouting the regulations. Some of them have COVID and still choosing not to stay in quarantine. So they go into the grocery, and they go into the bank, they go into the market, going all over the place and operating as normal, right? Probably some of them are asymptomatic, but they know that they have COVID. And because the evidence of them being COVID positive is not apparent, they figure they could try a thing. There are those who are not taking it seriously because they are saying the government is lying about the numbers, because once the death figure or the death toll reaches 2,500, then it qualifies the government to get millions of US dollars in aid from certain foreign bodies, and that the government just wants this money so that the ministers and them could thief it. I am seeing people saying that the situation is not that serious. Again, that it is a pandemic, a condemic, all kind of nonsense. I mean, people saying just to excuse themselves for doing the wrong things. So if you still have people thinking that, right, that the government is lying, the authorities are lying, that the numbers aren't really as high as they make it out to be. When you have people, the likes of Philip Edward Alexander, still talking nonsense in the face of a newspaper article that came out, I think, yesterday or the day before, saying that Trinidad and Tobago now leads the world in terms of the number of deaths per 100,000 persons, right? Putting us right up there in a negative light. And you have people like Philip Alexander continuing to push this nonsense about 99.7% of the people who get COVID will survive, and only 0.3% of the people who get COVID will die or suffer some serious impact from COVID. He just needs to do the maths, right? Almost 2,100 people dead, the majority of whom died this year. this year, and you still talking that nonsense, and you have thousands of followers who regurgitating and repeating that stupidness, that people prefer to listen to the likes of Philip Edward Alexander and listen to the health authorities and listen to the CMO, Dr. Abdul Richards, and listen to Dr. Hines. Dr. Hines predicted and he told us that in the coming weeks that we are likely to see infections as high as 1,000 per day. And now we're seeing that it's coming to pass. Was it 700 and something new cases yesterday? We know that some of that 700 and something will die. The 600 and something that happened the day before, some of them will die. That's just the unfortunate reality. So when we seek to downplay these things, what are we saying to the families of these people who have lost their loved ones? And again, I repeat, and it's always worth repeating, everybody who died this year, at this time last year, they were looking forward to 2021. They were looking forward to a 2021 that was either COVID-free or at the very least saw a significant decline in the COVID situation. That has not happened. In fact, it has gotten even worse. All of these people who are now dead, I'm sure if they had a choice to go back to 2020, they'd love to be in 2020 now. Right? How many more of us who are right now, alive and well, looking forward to 2022, would be in the same position as the people who are now deceased, who are looking forward to 2021. And now we have this new variant called Omicron. And the authorities are saying, the international authorities are saying that they don't know if it is that the vaccine would be effective against this new variant. So they've already begun to impose travel restrictions. The United States, Trinidad and Tobago. And again, I draw to your attention that Trinidad and Tobago would have taken the lead and would have imposed such restrictions even before the United States did. It's the same thing that happened last year. The government of Trinidad and Tobago took the decision to impose certain travel restrictions on certain countries before the United States authorities did it. But when our government did it, you had the likes of Inchan Ishmael calling the Minister of Health a royal ass for going against the advisory of the World Health Organization, which was not to impose health restrictions because it would only cause undue panic. But the day after, the United States did the same thing. And of course, wise one in Shan Ishmael had nothing to say. Did he criticize the Trump administration? No. Didn't do that. Yeah. But the government of Trinidad and Tobago, something was wrong with them. And that goes to show you the level of respect that they have for their own country. That when we are pioneers and trailblazers in certain things, the government is considered to be foolish, stupid, dotish, hard-headed. But when the first world countries do it, oh yes, they're smart, yeah, get them at that. Yeah man. So we must always lead from behind. We must wait for them to do and then follow suit. So we must never be the pioneers. We mustn't take in front to protect our citizens. Again, I stress, 1.4 million people, we are an endangered species. We cannot afford to have a death toll of 100 and 200,000 or 700 going on 800,000 as we've seen in the US. We can't afford that. Just give me 1 second. All right. So, while it is that some people may have deemed the Prime Minister's address to be a waste of their time, or as Martin Daly said, rambling and unhelpful, some of us who choose to take off the blinders, insofar as this health situation is concerned, could see that it was far more than that. Okay? Nonetheless, I'm sure that Martin Daly is doing all that he can to protect himself. I'm sure he's probably vaccinated. I'm sure he's doing whatever he needs to do to ensure that he doesn't get infected. Right? I'm sure he's encouraging his circle to do that. But when the Prime Minister seeks to do it on a national level, you call it rambling and an unhelpful address. Well, perhaps Mr. Daly can contact the Corporate Communications Department for the Prime Minister's office and ask to start writing the Prime Minister's speeches for his address. So he could give us an example, or maybe in his next article, he could probably just write what he thinks the Prime Minister's address should have read and sounded like, and tell us, show us what a proper address should sound like. Tell us what a helpful address sounds like, Mr. Daly. We would love to hear that. And since you seem to be the expert in what is a proper address, since you seem to be the expert in what is rambling and what is not, help us out now. Use one of your daily columns and give us some idea as to what it is. Because right now, that article that I read there this morning, to me, was rambling. After about the third paragraph, you lost me. I was bored stiff. I didn't even bother to finish reading it. Because you're just beating around the bush talking a certain nonsense about this commissioner thing. Mind they wonder, been there, done that, move on, talk about something else. And I see you didn't even support the motion that was brought by Vera. You had issues with that too. You yourself as a former independent senator didn't see the sense. So I guess Senator Vera's motion was
once
also
again,
rambling.
Dominic, you have 5 seconds to ads.
All right, so we go to the ads, we come back after the 12 o'clock hour.
This is Nigel Coutier.
And this is Brian Manning.
Around
time.
Call out to your neighbor.
Call out to your friends.
Come, let's spend Christmas together.
Christmas time is here. Can you feel it? It's in the air.
I call to one and all. Start up the music. Let's have a ball. Quattro play the song
while we sing along.
Sorrel in my hand
while we sing paran.
Children laugh and sing
to the joy it brings.
Eats and drinks for so.
You tight here, you know. To have a Merry Christmas, a Merry Christmas is what we aim for.
So call out to your neighbor,
call out to your friends.
Come, let's spend Christmas together. Wake up this morning, you know where we going. Victoria Village, we parangin'.
Auntie in St. Joseph, don't leave home. We coming with box bass and shack.
We parangin'.
In Pleasantville,
the band passing.
In Monrepo,
parang we go.
St. Madeleine,
carols we sing.
Coquillet,
we parangin' day.
To have a Merry Christmas, a Merry Christmas is what we aim for.
So call out to your neighbor,
call out to your friends.
Come, let's spend Christmas together. Brianna, heading across to St. John.
St. Joseph Village.
No, we have to go to St. Bella.
Sando East.
With that, it's Kona San Fernando Parangin with us.
We going everywhere.
Yes, sir. We come back again. Nigel Coutier, Brian Manning. Christmas together. Hey. Hey. Yes, man. Tell them, Brian.
To have a Merry Christmas, a Merry Christmas is what we aim for.
So call out to your neighbor,
call out to your friends.
Come, let's spend
Christmas together.
Keep on passing, around we go. Carols we sing, we parang and day. Call out to your neighbor,
call out to your friends.
Come, let's spend
Christmas together.
Tobago, ready up. Tune into our live council meeting on November 28th.
Ready to vote, ready to wave, ready to vote, ready to make we name.
This is Larry Paul inviting you to tune in to our live council meeting.
Be enough of the fire, be enough of the energy, a positive energy, and they cannot damage it.
Meeting begins at 7 p.m. at the Black Rock Courtyard on all major TV and radio stations, PNM's Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. Hear from the political leader, Tracy Davidson Celestine, and a powerful lineup of speakers. Tune in, click, like, and you must share. And on December 6th, take no chance. Protect your future. Vote PNM. Great is the PNM.
Simpsons Memorial Limited, number 63 Eastern Main Road, Laventille. Internationally accredited funeral directors and embalmers. A full-service funeral home serving families of Trinidad and Tobago and internationally since 1945. At Simpsons Memorial Limited, we serve with dignity in assisting families in honoring the memory of their loved ones. Our services include professional funeral and pre-planning, burials and cremation, custom-built and imported caskets, coffins and cremation trays, cemetery management, limousines, mourners' cars, grief counseling, web streaming of funerals, fully air-conditioned chapel with live musical accompaniment, full global shipping and receiving of loved ones. We specialize in facial restorations. Call us anytime, day or night, at 623-8688. That number again is 623-8688. Simpsons Memorial Limited. Superior service, always with excellence.
Take me to the king. I don't have much to bring.
Welcome the Christmas holidays this year with quality and attractive furniture from Stylus Furniture Limited. 2 locations, 51 Rushwood Street, San Fernando, and 101 Crackness Village in Princestown. Select from a wide range of contemporary furniture to enhance your homes. Now open on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Call today, 652-2542. Season's greetings to all our customers and friends from Stylus Furniture Limited. Stylus Furniture Limited. For this time in you.
Princess Vicky, who calls out to me? I am your prince. Your B-Mobile chariot of prizes awaits. Step into your brand new Hyundai Tucson. Oh my God!
Vicky! Hey, wake up, girl! Come on, put all the rubbish before the garbage truck pass, man.
I was enjoying my dream. Don't wish it. Win it with B-Mobile this Christmas. A 2022 Hyundai Tucson could be yours. Plus many more great prizes. Shop up, buy a prepaid plan. Switch. Sign up for any postpaid MiFi or wireless home broadband plan. Or pay your bill to enter. Visit bmobile.co.tt for details. B-Mobile. Life is on.
We're back, and we came straight to Royal Castle to pick up some delicious food. We got a queen bucket, a king bucket, some royal wings, a family meal, a few combos, some extra sides, a rotisserie chicken, and a snack box. Oh, and that delicious honey mustard sauce, it's really lashing. Rudolph, do you think we should get some for Mrs. Claus and the elves, too? Happy holidays from Royal Castle.
Have you completed an ABE RQF Level 5 qualification? Did you know that the ABE RQF Level 5 diploma qualifications are now accepted as a valid entry requirement for the final year of the internationally recognised, world-ranked University of Hertfordshire's BA Business Administration degree programme? Now, in just 1 year, you can complete your BA Business Administration degree. Contact CTS College on 868-671-2551 or email us at study@ctscollege.com or visit our website ctscollege.com.
If you're experiencing pain, constipation, headaches, poor blood circulation, high or low blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, swollen or darkened feet, come visit us at Health and Wealth Lifestyle, located at 73 Eastern Main Road, Barataria, opposite Eastern Credit Union. We at Health and Wealth Lifestyle offer a wide range of services. Come and experience our new 3D analyzer, which allows you to have a look inside your body. We also provide live blood analysis, iridology, ionic foot detox with foot soak and foot massage, aquatherapy, full body massage, and organic supplements on sale such as Nano Silver, Nano Zinc, Body Light, cold pressed sesame oil, and more. Health and Wealth Lifestyle, located at number 73 Eastern Main Road, Barataria, opposite Eastern Credit Union. For more information, call 275-8359 or 288-1108.
Join Nicole Hagen logins for Health and Wealth Lifestyle every Monday from 9:05 a.m. to 9:55 a.m. right here on the street 919 FM.
Clarity. It's what we want for our vision. Whether we're working in the office, during our nighttime commute, or watching our TV. Reduce reflections and glare with Supernova anti-reflective coatings by Value Optical. The advanced technology in your new eyeglasses will reduce eye strain, help the world see you better, and enhance the way you see the world. Value Optical. Expert care for your eyes.
Police, good day. Officer Best Price here. Johnny Q Auto Parts Division? Yes, sir. I'm here to investigate an assault on batteries. Excuse me, sir? Is it true? You have batteries selling for $488? Yes. Power Master, Optima, Vata, and Megastar batteries. So I could buy a battery for $488? Yes, sir. For cars, trucks, and boats. Backed and distributed by Massey Automotive. Which part? Right here at Johnny Q Hardware and Auto Parts Division, 15 Arrowbita Avenue, Woodbrook. And our new Johnny Q Superstore, located at Lowlands Mall off Claude Noel Highway in Tobago. You could call 63 Tools. All right. Thanks, boss. Nah, man. Ronnie, do you have $488 to lend, man?
Hi, what's up, TNT? This is Wayne Johnson out of Brooklyn, New York. I always wanted to do something back home, and we're going to be doing our gospel segment on Mondays from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. That's 10 p.m. to 12 midnight on 91.9 FM. Listen what I want you to do. Spread the word. Spread the word, TNT.
Salvation, full and free. Salvation is for everybody.
Mondays from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. That's 10 p.m. to 12 midnight on 91.9 FM.
Tune in to the Street 919 FM every Friday from 9:15 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. with Kingdom Health Services, situated at number 91 Eastern Main Road in St. Augustine. For the program, Health and Healing, merging the old with the new with Brent Diet. For more information, call 318-7471 or 484-0141 or 360-4100. It's all about Kingdom Health Services on the Street 919 FM.
The PNM is making home ownership a reality. 2,000 housing lots will be distributed to Tobagonians, with 20% being reserved for single mothers, daily paid workers, members of vulnerable social groups, the military and the police.
PNM, we getting it done. We building it up. PNM.
Lot owners will be able to access a $50,000 grant to start construction under the beneficiary-owned land program.
We getting it done. PNM, we building it up. PNM.
The home completion program will provide grants up to $20,000 for families unable to complete construction due to financial constraints.
We getting it done. We building it up. PNM.
The home improvement subsidy will help families expand or renovate their homes with a grant that matches their spend up to $20,000. The home improvement grant will assist with minor additions and repair works up to $15,000.
We getting it done. We building it up.
We will facilitate low-interest mortgages for 25 to 40-year-olds earning less than $10,000 per month. We will deliver 300 new starter homes per year to eligible persons with 10% allocated to single mothers.
We getting it done. We building it up. PNM.
Making home ownership a reality, PNM style. On December 6th, vote PNM.
PNM.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Dominic, you're back on the live.
Right. So thank you, Tiana. So before we open the lines, I just want to address a couple comments that I'm seeing on the on Facebook from one George Wilson. I'm pretty sure that's not his name unless. Yeah, I'm. You're not hearing me? Do you hear me, Tiana?
Yes, I am, Dominic. You ready to open the lines? I'm hearing you, Dominic. I'm hearing you quite clear.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm seeing I'm being heard on. I'm good on social media, right? So I saw someone by the name of George Wilson on Facebook commenting. I said I don't think that's his real name unless he's a character from Dennis the Menace. But his comments certainly reflect that of a menace, right? This view that, and I agree with you on one part, that we cannot continue to have 100 deaths being recorded every 4 days. And how that is Keith Rowley's fault, Terence de Alsing's fault. Perhaps you could elaborate on that for us. Because to the last time I checked, when Keith Rowley gets up in the morning, he is not taken to a hospital to put on a stethoscope and a lab coat to go and make rounds and attend to patients. I am pretty certain that the reason why we have regional health authorities and we have competent doctors, it is for them to do their work, right? They are the ones who are charged with responsibility for the management of the COVID situation. And again, we've listened to the health authorities who have stressed that the situations that they have to deal with, where persons are waiting until they're in a critical state, then to present themselves at the hospitals for treatment. Okay? Whose fault is that? When people are going to private institutions, doing the COVID tests, getting positive results, and then they are not, but it's not being reported to the health authorities so that these people could be, so that the public health sector could take note of them and do what is necessary. The CMO pointed to that fact quite recently, that some of these private institutions are not reporting positive cases. So is it that Keith Rowley is a CMO? So that he could, when he sits down, he puts on, as in the X-Men movie, he puts on this helmet and he could see all who have been tested positive and are not reporting it. He can see when it is that people who have been diagnosed as positive with COVID, but they may be asymptomatic, or their symptoms may not be so severe that they are allowed to recuperate at home, because certainly we don't have the facilities in the parallel healthcare system to keep people, as in the early days, who are positive, but whose situation is not that dire. Is it that Keith Rowley has some special telepathic ability that he could see when these people choose to leave home to break quarantine and go to the grocery? That they choose to leave home to go to the bank? That they choose to leave home and go everywhere that they should not be? That their family members know what they're doing and saying nothing? When people suspect that they have COVID, but because they don't want to be under quarantine, they choose not to go and get tested, that's Keith Rowley's fault? And then only when they develop hypoxia or their situation becomes so dire that they have to end up in the hospital, then and only then the authorities know that they've been COVID positive. Whose fault is that? So Keith Rowley stepping down, how is that going to fix the situation? Over 700,000, close to 800,000 people have died in USA. Part of which was under Donald Trump. So he's gone. So should Joe Biden step down because I'm certain since Joe Biden has been in office, the number of deaths far exceeds the number in Trinidad. So should Joe Biden step down and put who? Just this morning alone, almost 1,300 deaths in Russia. Should Vladimir Putin step down and put who? Out of 200 and something countries, Trinidad and Tobago is 119. So which means there are 118 countries above us, most of whom have higher death rates than us. Most of whom are recording what you complaining about 100 deaths in 4 days. They're recording 100 deaths perhaps in an hour. So the presidents, the prime ministers, and governments of these countries step down and put who? Since you're bright and you know how to deal with COVID, why you don't write the prime minister? Send him an email now. Call Nishan Ishmael and ask him for the prime minister email address, and you send him an email and tell him how to deal with the situation. Apparently you have the answer. I saw someone else asking a question. I think his name is Philip Robinson or something like that, asking a question with respect to persons who have tested for COVID are being sent home to wait for results. Make it make sense. So, Mr. Robinson, where should they wait for the results? In the hospital? Which hospital have room? Put them where? In the step-down facility? So we put them there? When it is that on a daily basis, 600 and something people, 500 and something people are testing positive. Out of how many? 1,000, 2,000 persons who would have tested. Where should we put all of these people to await their results, Mr. Robinson? Should we put them in the stadium? Help us now. Where should we put them? Where should they await their results? And then when we put them in the private, in the public health sector, we feed them for 2 days, 3 days, or however, because when it is that you're inundated now, and just remember, not everybody is being tested in the public sector. So when they go to the private doctor and they're waiting the results, where should they stay and wait for their results, Mr. Robinson? If you go to a private facility and you do a PCR test, and because on that day they had 100 or 200 people coming to test, and it takes 2 or 3 days for you to get back your results. You went to a private facility. Where should go and wait to get your results? Tell us. Should they be given a bed in St. Augustine Private, St. Clair Medical, or wherever it is that they go? You see, you want it to make sense, but your question not making sense because you're not thinking about it from the whole spectrum, that not everybody is tested in the public health sector. The government can account for them, but who goes to the private health sector and getting positive results and choosing not to have it reported when you could pass a bribe? Okay? Because you don't want to have to go in the hospital or any facility for 2 weeks because it's cramping your style. How are we supposed to deal with these people? Make that make sense to me now. Please. Yeah, Tiana, we could go ahead and open the lines.
All right, thank you very much. So the lines are open 342-0081, 771-1791, and 466-5391. A pleasant good morning. You're live?
Yeah, good morning. Dominic, blessed love.
A pleasant good morning, caller. You're live?
Yeah, good morning. So good morning to Dominic there. And to the entire TNT. And all the PNM family. To God be the
caller,
glory.
you're live.
But you ain't hearing me? I hear it myself.
Morning.
Well, I'm not seeming to get any answer from that person. So, again, the lines are open 342-0081, 771-1791.
Yeah, I'm here. We're hearing him, Tiana.
91.
Yeah. No.
Again, the lines are open 342-0081, 771-1791. Pleasant good morning, caller. You're live?
Morning, Tiana. Something in the station is the problem there, you know. Morning, Dominic. Morning,
Mano.
Diego. I want to know what they expect the Prime Minister to do. If somebody there, they're confusing me. I sit down and say, but what they want the Prime Minister to do? You know you're sick. Why the hell you don't stay home? You know you're tested positive. Why don't you still be going all about the place and blaming the government, the Prime Minister? Come on, I don't even know what to say now. You know, picked up that system in the station there in the control here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mano.
Pleasant good morning, caller. You live?
Yes, good morning to you and Dominic. I don't know this COVID since it came in.
Caller, you live?
I am hearing you. Are you hearing me? Could you answer, please? Are you hearing me? Hello?
Hello, good morning, caller. You're live?
I am hearing you. I say good morning.
Caller, you'll need to call back and turn down your radio, please. Pleasant good morning, caller. You're live.
Yeah, hello, morning. You hear me?
Yes, good morning. We're hearing you.
Yes, morning.
All right, I'm calling from Tobago. You hear me still?
Yes, caller, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we're hearing you, caller. You can go ahead. We're hearing you.
Caller, you can go ahead and speak. He's hearing you. Pleasant good morning, caller. You're live.
Hello, good morning. I think the radio is all a problem and all not fixing it. All have a dangerous problem going on right now. Since there is that problem going on, a lot of static and all kind of things. Fix all of business,
so
man, please.
we seem to have a bit of issues with 466-5391. So please call 3420081. Pleasant good morning, caller. You're live.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, you know I know who going to push back Tuesday. I wish they could get COVID serious and that because people do this here. And to be going on, unless that black thing with that black shoe, that black cross, that black jersey and thing when you give all you, or you see a man down here with that black casket, or you watch yourself. Watch yourself to be going on. Or go ahead. Thank you.
Pleasant good morning, caller. You're live.
Hello, morning. Morning, you hear me? Hello?
Yes, caller, we're hearing you. Go
Hello?
ahead.
Caller, he is hearing you. Go ahead. Caller, you need to turn down your radio, please. You're live.
Yeah, morning. Dominic, when they say you want to answer, I was going to wait once you can answer because the young lady in the studio they I know she hear them on it, but once you can answer to make sure they hear.
Yeah, well, I'm answering.
Pleasant good morning, caller. You're live.
Dominic. Morning.
Yes, sir. Morning.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Morning.
Hello. Hello. Morning. Dominic.
Yes, sir. I'm hearing you.
It's about a lady in Amaru Station that's been giving people some. I don't know how much they pay for the doctor to come there to give people false information concerning this injection and giving Dr. Rowley a bad name. And Amaru Station, I'm 94.7 or something. You can tell me something about these, that people, how much I get you to buy for?
I don't know. I'll have to try and listen to it.
You must try and listen to it.
Yeah.
But that is something good. That is something good at all. And like the buyer doctor too, to come on the station to get Dr. Rowley a bad name and Terence and the doctor.
Yes.
So see if you can dig up to that. And let me know something about it. All right, have a good day.
All right, I'll do that.
All right.
Hey, good afternoon, Dominic.
Pleasant good morning, caller. You're live.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dominic. Dominic, blows, boy, blows. What do you expect, Dominic, from in the Commonwealth, boy? Everything is a problem, Mr. Martin D. Lee. Right? Dominic, when some people had ambitions of being the president, and things didn't work out. We expect now, boy, right? And all the people who was against Carnival, you can't say car, much less Carnival. Obviously, you carry revelry, but people have to understand Trinidad is not a religious state or Islamic state. It's a secular state, right? You can't force people. People want to go and get. Why people don't go and get vaccinated, right? You have people that survives on the cycle of Carnival, and you can't just study yourself alone. Dr. Rowley not governing for my interest alone or Dominic interest or the young lady there, you know. He governing for everybody's interest, and he had to balance it. So regardless of what we think about Gypsy, that's Gypsy's job, right? So he had to balance it even in a virtual way. What about all the pan players? Carnival is not about just jumping about what about the pan? What about the Calypsonians? What about the young kings? What about the craft people? What about the vendors? What about all those people who survives on the cycle? What about Bugsy, one of the greatest pan players down in Jonestown, down there in St. James? Right? What about Port of Spain? What about people in the pan fraternity? What are we going to do? We're going to starve all of them because we tell ourselves we finish. Dr. Oli had to balance it, and people saying, to end your people saying, it must be done with a negative PCR test. So people get all the facts right before they just call it and say that people just want to go and jump up in a party when they're vaccinated. They must have a negative PCR test. Thanks, people.
Pleasant good morning. Caller, you live?
Yes, good morning, Dominic.
Central,
I
morning.
have been listening to all your PNM ads on the radio. All you're really buying out Tobago, boy, but no matter how much all you bribe Tobago, the PDP is going to win the election in Tobago. And as soon as the PDP win the election in Tobago, I think Dr. Rowley should call fresh elections in Trinidad. You remember the 2020 election, all you was first in the world, where all is right now for COVID, boy. Okay, Dominic, have a nice day.
Thank you, Central. Okay. Oh boy, that's what the UNC hoping for, eh?
Pleasant good morning, you're live.
Yes, good morning to all, Dominic, you, and to all listeners. Dominic, I don't understand that the Prime Minister is not in anybody's home. I see where I live. Saturday morning, somebody dropped a couple, a boy and his girlfriend, off. They had no mask. They both, I think the guy had a cup in his hand. I can't remember what the girl had, so I cannot say. They had no mask. They just come out of the vehicle, just jump out, and they came to their homes. So it means that they were at a party at 5-something in the morning, right? So the parents cannot control what's in their home. And I'm sure some employer cannot control what goes on in their business as well, right? And you want the government to control 1 million and change of those unruly, disobedient citizens. What you want? Taxpayers' money are involved, right? And it is to take care of you if you behave in good. So it's because if your parents cannot tell you how to behave under the roof that they're providing for you, taking care of you financially, you want the government to do that? How could the government do that? Be reasonable and people when you're talking. These men who talking, because I've read some of those contributions they have made via WhatsApp and newspaper and maybe hear a few on the radio, right? They cannot control things in their home. And they themselves not behaving. So how you want? You want the government to open up, you want them to close. You want a climax thing, you want the government to say. What do you want the government to say? Look, have a good day.
Pleasant good morning, caller, you live. Pleasant good morning, caller, you live.
Yes, morning. Central.
Uncle Dominic, morning. Monks and
George, morning.
Central, that is what you're hoping for, that PDP would win and to get new election, but Central, you would never see that. PDP going to get one cocktail in Tobago. You and all would leave Trinidad and come to Tobago. So I know that is what you're waiting for. You're stupidly talking rubbish from Central all the time.
Pleasant good morning, caller, you live. Pleasant good morning, caller, you live.
Yes, good morning. How are you all? Hello?
Morning.
Morning. Hello?
Morning.
Hello? Morning.
Yeah, caller, go ahead. We're hearing you.
Caller, he's hearing you.
Okay then, all right. I want Dr. Oli to buy a frying pan for me and a pound of fish. I don't know if he's able to do that for me by now and tomorrow morning. Because, I mean, he had to say about me and everybody else to see that we eat and we drink. I don't know, since this COVID come in, you know, you just seen the amount of ignorant people living in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm sorry to say that. But I hope they would have some understanding.
This is your Soak Up Around Fever on the Street 919 FM.
They want to die this year from the COVID, so let it go ahead. And Christmas is love. Christmas is love. You can't go to your home. Maybe you tell your woman and then be careful when you carry food. Down the keeping home and stay and all this nonsense. Then you have to take care of yourself. It was like a one-sided true, but then I get up and I realize and open my eyes, you see man plan and God does love, yeah. So this Christmas on your behalf, yeah. It's only love, a handful of love, a teaspoon of love, a pot full of love, a bucket of love, a bottle of love, cup full of love. Oh, Christmas is love, a basket of love, a hamper of love, a bag full of love, a tin of love, a crate of love, a box full of love. Christmas is love, L-O-V-E, L-O-V-E. Christmas is love, L-O-V-E. Christmas is love, L-O-V-E, L-O-V-E. Christmas is love, L-O-V-E. The other day somebody get you mad and you wanted to get on bad. There's all kind of thing you wanted to do, but that is not you. You see, time they say is the best teacher. And there will always be one answer, and that is love. A handful of love, a teaspoon of love, a pot full of love, a bucket of love, a bottle of love, cup full of love. Oh, Christmas is love, a basket of love, a hamper of love, a bag full of love, a tin of love, a crate of love, a box full of love. Christmas is love, L-O-V-E, L-O-V-E. Christmas is love, L-O-V-E. Christmas is love, L-O-V-E, L-O-V-E. Christmas is love, L-O-V-E. We say love, 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 we say love for the Christmas. We say love, 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 we say love for the Christmas.
That was your Soak Up Around Fever on the Street 919 FM. The Street 919 FM is bringing the Christmas spirit right into your homes, vehicles, and on your mobile phones like never before. Hey, Christmas time with the best Soak Up Around mix. Yes, join this exciting segment, Barang Soca Fever, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 9:45 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 6:45 p.m. until Christmas.
This is Christmas, so have a Merry Christmas.
Right here on your favorite Christmas station, The Street 919 FM.
Christmas, Christmas, a sweet Jamaican Christmas.
Sponsored by Shandy and Royal Cast. Our culture, our taste.
Dominic, you're back on. Are you continuing to take calls?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Pleasant good morning, caller, you're live.
Hi, good morning, Dominic. Morning to you, ma'am. Morning to all the listeners on
Morning.
91.9 FM, all my friends and all my family, everybody. I just want to say quickly, this is a message I'm sending to Pastor Baines. He said that he wants the people of Tobago to defend Watson Solomon Duke. And I want to ask him, because based on Watson Solomon Duke's behavior and actions, when I look at the word thief, they said a person who steals, especially in secret and without using force or violence. And when I see liar, it said a person who lies. Watson Solomon Duke would have lied when he said that he's not taking the 5% and he went along and he took it. He would have lied when he said he didn't take the over $500,000 and resigned from PSA, and then he came back and said, let me tell all in my business, and I take it and I do it. So I say that is a liar and a thief behavior. Also, I want to know if that is what Pastor Baines wants people to defend, because Proverbs 12:22 are taken at a church. The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy. We have seen that Watson Solomon Duke is not trustworthy. He would have fired over 13 workers from PSA and had to take him to court. Industrial court said at the time his behavior was abusive, especially as a union leader for firing people for wearing their union jerseys. He went on to fire about 20 again, saying he sent them on vacation. He never hired them back, so he's not trustworthy. He takes 5% when he didn't say any, when he said he wasn't going to take it. When I look at the definition of rape, rape is a type of sexual assault usually involving sexual intercourse or other forms of sexual penetration carried out against a person's will without their consent. Watson Solomon Duke is before the court, so he's a rape accused. I'm not saying he did anything or he didn't do anything. It has to be cleared. But Pastor Baines wants people in Tobago to defend that. So I just want to ask before I go, Pastor Baines, do you ever read Ezekiel 34 that says, 34:10, it says, this is what the sovereign Lord says. He said, I'm against the shepherd and will hold them accountable for my flock. I will remove them from tending the flock so that the shepherd can no longer feed themselves. I will recover my flock from their mouth, and it will no longer be food for them. Pastor Benjamin is a shepherd because you're leading a flock. The Lord said he will hold you accountable. He will hold you accountable. He said he will remove you from tending to his flock, so that you will not be able to feed yourself. And he said he will rescue his flock from you. Pastor Baines, do what is right, do what is right. You say, is a priest I go on, is a pastor or a pastor? People of Tobago, the bounds of hell. December the 6th, go out and vote resoundingly for the People's National Movement, and all 15 candidates reject PDP are gone.
Mr. Manning said, show me a liar and I'll show you a thief.
Good morning.
Jenny just gave you all examples.
Good morning, caller, you live?
Yes, morning. Again, Miss Jenny. This man, I take away his pastoral portfolio. He's not a pastor because he's agreeing with wrong thing. You know what, Mr. Watson, you call the people in Tobago monkeys. He said the easiest thing to use to catch a monkey is to give them something in their hand. And he's been giving people all kind of things here, money to do this and money to do that. So he's calling the people who voting for him a monkey. And I don't want to hear about Mr. Baines. He's Mr. Baines. He's not a pastor. He's on an agenda. He's looking for something. A pastor is a worthy and honest man, not what Mr. Baines is behaving with. Defend what? Defend a criminal who was on a criminal charge and, for pulling a fire alarm, and is being charged, and it's only because he put it in the appeal court why, he's not whatever paid the due or whatever for it. Come on, Mr. Baines, come on. You're all encouraging wrong things in Tobago here, man. And Central, let me tell you something. If they have enough of you all here to vote out the PNM, so you best bring up 3 truckload of you all and come up. Rubbish.
Pleasant good morning, you're live.
Good morning, Tiana. Dominic, good morning. Now, when you listen to Central, you would understand, and when you listen to the so-called pastor, you would understand that is why the first Tobagonian Prime Minister had a saying, 1818, he based moral and spiritual values. If a man could call, imagine we have a man jump on a plane and go to Panama with $400 million. Do you hear anybody in the UNC calling for that man? But they want to holler around and prevent, dead as they are, to come back. So that just tells you, and we have a man supporting a man that was on a rape charge, and he is a so-called pastor. Moral and spiritual values. You don't get that from Central. So what do you expect? You don't get that from the UNC. So who you think he's going to support? No integrity. And that's why we class them as the same. Because they have no moral and spiritual values. They're not making noise for the man to bring back more $400 million. You understand my logic? Enjoy the morning, or the rest of all the evening, sorry.
Pleasant good afternoon, caller. You're live. Pleasant good afternoon, caller. You're live.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you, Dominic. Well, I think what was happening before is that either the callers wasn't hearing you, but we were listening on air was hearing that the callers was trying to get in. Dominic, good morning, my brother. Dominic, good morning. Well, I think that it have a little problem going on because all you're not hearing at the same time that we are hearing.
Morning, sir. Morning.
Right. I think that people like Central and them have no shame, to be honest, because don't care what you respond to them with the facts, Dominic. They always try to get in when people is very serious about Trinidad and Tobago. And you heard the last caller, they is not about Trinidad, Dominic. If they know that the UNC almost took with Trinidad and Tobago economy, it went all kind of direction. People like for $400 million. People have to be living outside of Trinidad and Tobago, hiding. People has gone back in Parliament. You imagine a man who was on a video couldn't be recognized by the former Prime Minister. They tried the best to let her know that is a cabinet minister. She said she don't know, but she could have recognized government ministers who she accused of not wearing masks. And when you listen to these kind of comments that coming from the opposition leader, the behavior in the Parliament, the opposition talking and dumping the independent senators and telling them the scene for the supper. And you know, all the critics of this government, including my good friend Martin Daly, had nothing to say about that, boy. You calling me and telling me I'm singing for my supper, and I must accept that and keep quiet, put duct tape on my mouth. If I want down in the bamboo field, he's the bamboo king. Never apologize to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago for bringing wrong information some years ago as I talked so that children heads were being shaven, put in containers, and shipped out of Trinidad and Tobago. Published an article in a private conversation with the Prime Minister. I'd always say, and only say what the Prime Minister tell him. He telling me don't take vaccine. I must listen to him. When he didn't know that the containers with the pass and game the rate was bringing money to Trinidad and Tobago. But he telling me, don't take vaccine. You know, when I listen to them people and them, disrespectful as it is, a man went somewhere in the Middle East, in trouble, taxpayers' money had to bring him back. He end up in the Parliament. He disrespect Her Excellency. You know what this opposition leader said? The opposition leader said he right because Dr. Rowley, he would be same word for Dominic. Hear what I'm telling you. I had to be fighting for you, know. We have to be bringing out so much facts. But let me tell Central and them something. We're not like all the kind. Anybody who appear to be in the PNM, you just hear the callers and them bringing it on. Not all you don't care if everything go away from the economic of Trinidad and Tobago and people private pocket. No problem for all you. So Dominic, boy, continue in the same vein you're going. When I get somebody else that chance, because when I hear Central and I'm getting in it, I'm vexed because no people want to make genuine contribution and one thing over and over and over every day. All of us start a bank then because we can't go another way the station and talk. Right? So thank you very much, Dominic and the young lady. Some people getting problems to hear earlier. Please let them know that they're hearing them, they can make the contribution. And as Central come on, cut them off. No useful purpose. Thank you.
Pleasant good morning, call. Good afternoon, caller. You live?
Good afternoon. I'm sitting here listening to the program. I'm a regular listener, number one fan. Now I realize it having some problems in the studio, so I don't know if people are hearing what I'm going to say. I'm going to make it short and brief. People of Trinidad and Tobago, plenty of you guys who sit at home and who walk the streets and talk a certain nonsense. You don't have to get up and see your loved one leaving you home every day to go out there to work, your wife and your loved ones, and you're so sure to see them come back to you as healthy as they leave. Some of them don't have to deal with it. I is one of the people who have to deal with it every day. It's hard out there. You understand? When I watch my wife have to leave every day, and she gets to go to work, I'm not sure she should come back healthy. She should bring that virus home to me. Because yes, we practicing all our protocols. We taking care of the kids, we sanitize, we do everything, we practice everything. But what about you guys out there who are not doing anything to protect yourself, my wife, my kids, and other people's wife and kids? Then I don't know. But let's talk. It's sad. It's sad. Every day I have to deal with that. But my wife leaves to go to work, not so sure she comes back healthy. When she comes, she has to strip outside before she comes inside and throw all them clothes in her basket outside. Look, it's sad. If you guys hear what I just said, thanks for listening. It's sad, people. It's sad. It's really sad. I'm going back and listen to the program because I call on my phone, so I'm going back to see if I can listen. It's sad, people. Have a blessed day, Trinidad and Tobago. Be safe.
Thank you so much, caller. We were hearing you.
Well said, caller. Well said. Couldn't put it better myself.
Pleasant good afternoon, caller. You live?
Yeah, good afternoon again, Dominic. Your friend Barataria talking about people who take money and go away to Panama. I've set up tell Barataria, the fellow who won Panama, he learned that from PNM. That was the first place where PNM run to. PNM was the inventors of corruption in Trinidad and masters of corruption. They could be so corrupted and we could say that, we have no corruption in the PNM right now. But in order to cover the tracks, good boy, Dominic, and do you know all the money that was allegedly misappropriated on that 2010 and 2015? If you had that money still can't touch the amount of money that was wasted on that Malcolm Jones and the GTL plant. Okay then, Dominic, have a nice afternoon.
Thank you, Central. And you always make that point, and I will add to that. That while you all like to say that the PNM invented corruption, the UNC refined it, and you all made it. The PNM have a associate's degree in corruption. You all have a PhD in corruption. That's why I tell you, if you take out certain letters from the word corruption, you will be left with UNC. Go ahead, Tiana.
Pleasant good morning, caller. You live?
Yeah, good morning. That fellow from Central, that guy the good thief from South. I say, remember the good thief where carry all the hats and sailor hats in Toko or Calabar Tuesday, and so they used to thief on Calabar Tuesday when people enjoying themselves, carry sailor hat and put it on load of van with goat and sheep and put sailor hat on them. When they reach Gandhi, police stop me and say, where are they? He says, sailors, they live to the band. When you reach on, we man out. Say that again. One of them ball out, the sheep, they start to ball and get locked up. Then you thief, African people don't thief. But they took corrupt and dirty Oh, look, 5 years time. 5 years time. And 5 years time, everybody below over the house. Tenant people always have house. They are the thief. They want to let down this country. We all like to be well. Stay down here. Because what you do, we will deal with you up. Even though you win, we will deal with them. Thank you.
Dominic, you have no more calls at the moment.
No calls at the moment?
No. Oh, you have one here. Pleasant good afternoon, you're live.
Yes, good afternoon, Dominic. Good afternoon, Miss Lady. I just want to say something. Central really has to be a crown. Because I hear people talk about PNM and things. How PNM going to end corruption? Corruption started all, it's had a government before PNM. Like they even know that. It was always corruption started all way back in the garden. Right? With Jesus Christ when they took his pieces of silver. So I don't understand you talk about mankind will always find people corrupt. Because you know why? Because there's money and things. But let me tell you something. UNC is the worst corrupt party ever in the history. Anything you could think about is corruption. And as the caller about I want to say, and I like that too. You're studying a dead, you want to bring back a dead man, but you don't want to bring back O'Halloran. And to start with, that Prime Minister they called Kamala Prasad Sessa, when going into office, she went by the Gopals and sleep, and she went out to give them a contract for $44 million, right? And let me tell you something. Never hear that from Dr. Neither no PNM Prime Minister ever in that yet. So when Central talking, tell them get facts right, and you understand why he's creating a corruption and these kind of things, because PNM can't create corruption. Corruption was already there, so they're talking nonsense to start with. But because there are so much corrupt people with them, they're always trying to see something. And so when ship it, they don't even have logic. So that two-tition and donkey logic with Central and then, can you talk? That's stupid. All right. Thank you for allowing me this contribution.
Thank you, caller.
Pleasant good morning. Caller, you're live.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sorry.
To the panel. The people that was given Moses the most problem after he left the village.
Good afternoon.
Hear their name. Korah, Jatan, Abiram. The man who betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Hear his name, Judas. Thank you.
Okay, well, again, we seem to have no more calls at the moment, Dominic.
That's it, Tiana?
Okay. I'm seeing one more. Sorry. Pleasant good afternoon. You're live.
Hello, good afternoon. Yeah, the PDP going to win.
Pleasant good afternoon. Caller, you're live.
Yes, good afternoon. Something is wrong with your phone too, huh? Because I've been dialing and you saying there's no call and the call would just go into voicemail. So while people are talking and talking about each other party, remember, other people are moving ahead. There are people who stealing land, right? The government says to fill out your form for your property tax. Do that, because a lot of people who is occupying other people's land do not want to do that. So mind your business, right? And I want the government to go around the country and look around people building development, I would say community on the park, the seaside, occupying property where they're not supposed to, right? And it's not about agriculture. They would probably put it down as agriculture. So mind your business too. Meantime, we are in the politics, yes, and we could talk about politics. But you also have to mind your business, people, okay?
Thank you so much, caller. I think we have less than 2 minutes before the ad set come up. So as always, thank you for joining me this morning. Always a pleasure to be with you on Sunday morning, and join Sharon and Bruce in the morning for Titans of Democracy 6:15, and I will be back with you on Tuesday morning, God willing, where we will continue the discussion. I see the leader of the opposition has joined the Drag the Coffin march because, she want to play Laja Bless. Well, all right, we will discuss that. I'll put up the picture on Tuesday morning, and we will discuss that and Tobago issues. Hopefully, I can have an interview on Tuesday with someone from the PDP. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we will chat on Tuesday. I'm out.
Expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the...
Thank you, CTS College, for awarding me a scholarship to pursue a degree.
Thank you, CTS College. The flexible class